So anyone from a family is going to get what I'm talking about in this video. It's the words that are the ultimate in family enabling. And I have to say, this little phrase can undermine your healing. But let me give you a few examples to start. Okay, so one example could be that you are on a family group text and it's just toxic over toxic and all, if you've been on a family group text, and you're like, enough's enough, I'm done. And you recognize and you say to yourself, I can't do this anymore. So you duck out of this family group chat because of the narcissistic behavior of one or two of the family members on it. And then an enabler in the family group chat. And this is particularly difficult if this enabler is actually someone in the family that you like, but are also sort of annoyed by how much they don't get it. But then this enabler, family enabler on the group chat, they say, oh, come on, don't leave the group text. Just ignore them. They just need attention. And we really want to hear the stuff in your life. We want to hear how you are doing. And we want to share our updates with you. We live all over the place. It's so much easier than having to send you a separate text every time. Another example would be, you made very clear to a family member that if a particularly toxic family, harmful family member is asked to come to a family holiday celebration, that you're not going to come. That their behavior in past years was reprehensible. You really affected you for a while afterwards, and you said, you know what, I can't do it again. And that this is not a family member who's close into the core of the family. It's someone who largely just shows up once a year for this one holiday thing to hold court and be a jerk. And while you feel a little guilty for what feels like you placing an ultimatum, it sort of also feels like a reasonable ask, because you also know that this abusive family member has other options of where they can go, but your enabling family members say, oh, come on, we can't tell them to not come. Can't you just come and we will try to keep them away from you? I think you're just making too big a deal out of this. Can't you do it? Can't you just do it for us? Or it's the time, I don't know, of your wedding or someone's your graduation celebration or some kind of meaningful religious or cultural ceremony for a child in the family system, like a christening or a bar mitzvah or something that is meaningful to you. And you are the one who gets to make the guest list because it's about you or you're a child or your family. And you think, okay, now that I see what this family member's behavior is, and it's clear over all these years that it's not changing, no way am I having this or a couple, however many narcissistic family members come to this. I'm not. So you make a decision to not invite them. Family members scroll through that electronic invitation. So little hack here, if you have narcissistic family systems or friend groups, never make all the names on the invite list visible to all attendees. It's actually a setting and an option on these digital invitation things, just a little narcissistic family hack. But we often forget to do that. So all the names of the invitees are on this invitation you put out. And quite frankly, even if you do this and don't share all the names, then, and who's invited, your toxic family is going to all keep asking, who's invited? So you're damned either way. Anyhow, let's say you do have the full list of invitees on this digital invite for the event for your child or for you, and the other family members see who is and who is not invited, and then they lean into you and say, oh, come on, I see you left out such and such. Please invite them. Ugh, we're not going to hear the end of it unless you do. She doesn't mean any harm. Can you invite her? Can you just do it for us? You can substitute friends or coworkers in here, but it's usually in family situations where we feel this most potently. Perhaps through your own work in therapy, through your own work in self-educating, however you figured out the rhythms of narcissistic relationships and families, and you've really getting to the point of no longer being willing to just go along to get along, or now you're actually doing things like making a need known or attempting to set a real boundary, and all of that feels like a big deal. You probably agonize over maybe leaving someone out or setting this boundary for a long time. So it can be really galling when family members, especially those who know what a problem this person is, this person that you no longer want to see or include in a meaningful event or have on a group text or hear from. Again, have at something that matters with a group of people you may not see as often as you want. When they even know how difficult this person is, but then they really go to the heights of manipulation and say, I know you don't want them here, but do it for me. Which actually translates to make yourself really uncomfortable, be emotionally abused, have your day ruined, and do all of this as a gift from me. Seriously? So you want me to be abused so you can feel better. And it gets so complicated when you do actually care about the person who's saying to you, do it for me. Because now you may find yourself going into dark corners. Because now you may find yourself not only frustrated about trying to finally address the situation, but now you're a little bit mad at the do it for me person. And you start to begin to wonder if maybe you are the problem for feeling angry at someone that you ordinarily like, the do it for me person, and also like, maybe I am being a jerk by not wanting this person to come along or by leaving the group text. The do it for me person, what they're asking is actually unacceptable and is actually why people have so much trouble healing from familial narcissistic abuse and trauma, why it is so intergenerational. It takes quite a bit of courage to take a stand and make it known that someone in the family is hurtful and you don't want to see them or you want to disconnect from them, and to have that shut down just so your family can maintain their fantasy of the status quo, or because your other family members don't want to deal with the angry phone calls of the person who is not invited, so much so that they are willing to throw you under the bus. That can feel like a magnifier on the existing narcissistic abuse and even the history of narcissistic abuse. And it can also make that sense of helplessness feel even more helpless. There's nowhere you can turn. You not only have been hurt and invalidated by this pain in the ass narcissistic family member or family members, you have also worked hard to give yourself permission to finally say, okay, enough. I can't do this anymore. But once again, you're not protected by the very people who should be willing to do that for you and are more willing to almost advocate for the narcissistic person to maintain the whole fantasy of, look at us, we all get along. Do it for me. That statement implies that at some level you're somehow being unreasonable, that you're being fussy or entitled or particular or just a little precious. But it's also quite twisted. They are dangling it out there. Look, you can be a nice person. Do this for me. It's as though it's a favor. Hey, are you going out? Can you swing by the grocery and pick me up some milk? I know it's just a few blocks out of your way, but do it for me. Oh, hey, if you're going upstairs, can you also bring me my glasses? I know you weren't going upstairs right away, but I'd love to get them now. Could you do it for me? It could be them. These examples seem silly in contrast, but right? They could say to you, I slept really badly last night and your sister needs to be picked up from the airport. Can you get her tonight? Can you do it for me? I need to get some rest. Now, those things like I'm just sharing, the groceries, a run up the stairs for a pair of glasses, a late night airport run. Yeah, maybe they are inconvenient, but they aren't invalidating. They aren't a dismissal of how painful or problematic this person is for you. But they're saying do it for me is making it sound like, just do me a favor. Grab me some milk. Grab me the glasses. Asking you to endure the triggering, uncomfortable, unsettling presence of a person in your life, especially at an event or at something that matters to you. That's not the same as grabbing some bananas and milk from the store. That is, hey, can you take a hit to your sense of well-being and safety today? Can you continue to abandon yourself and kind of mess yourself up psychologically for a few days? Because I like to keep up the charade and the illusion that this is a close-knit family. Do it for me. Feel sick for me. It's not okay. It's not an okay ask. Now, obviously, the family members who make the do it for me asks, they're not bad people. And they frankly don't always recognize the depth of the harm of these asks because they don't see it clearly or they don't want to see it clearly. But it's not your responsibility to be the narcissism educator in your family and to teach them about these patterns. And it can really sting to realize that for family members in one of these harmful systems, that maintaining their illusion is more important than honoring a simple ask, even when it means nothing to them. As I said, the chronic catch-22 of being in these kinds of narcissistic family and friend systems is that you constantly feel like you're the one who's a bad person. Even when you recognize why saying no or not wanting to include a toxic person in your life or in an event is important. Because the rhetoric from everyone else is always, play nice, let's include everyone, and you're the one saying, yeah, no, maybe not, then you are colored as the one who's being difficult. And that can play on the existing sense of moral injury, this idea that you're the one who's done a bad thing and you really sit with it and you feel bad about it, and the sense that you are somehow disloyal or even being too demanding, etc., etc. You know the drill. And when that added twist of do it for me is thrown on top of there, and it is being treated so casually like a small favor, it's manipulative. And of course, if you then are the one who says, okay, if you can't honor this simple ask, then I don't think I can come, or I don't want to be part of this group text, then you're the one who's difficult. You're a bad person and unreasonable and stonewalling for issuing ultimatums, or you will be the one who's accused of being manipulative. And the clincher here is that if you said to this family member, hey, can you tell, fill in the blank, whoever that family member or family members are for you, can you tell brother, sister-in-law, whomever, to not invalidate me and everyone else, to be respectful, to show some real empathy, to not monopolize the conversation and make the entire day about them. Hey, could you do that? Could you do it for me? Your family members will shut you down and leave you feeling more crazy by saying things like, oh, come on now. Aren't you being a little extra? It's not that bad. That's just how they are. Why can't you be the bigger person? So maybe, at least in your own mind, the best you're going to be able to say is, hey, I'm afraid I'm not coming, and please just let it go. Let's not talk about it anymore. Do it for me. When someone is asking you to sacrifice your safety and sanity for them, I don't think it's worth it. That is not a good transaction. And while it may not be narcissistic abuse, it can still feel painful and uncomfortable and a painful reminder that the only way you can remain within the family system is to buy into the falsehood that everything is fine. This is why the easy, breezy, simplistic advice of just set boundaries just doesn't work in these relationships. Hope that's helpful. Do it for me.